This episode of the Local Hustlers podcast is brought to you by Pearson Moving. If you plan on moving in or out of the valley anytime soon, you have to check out Pearson Moving. They're licensed, insured, and they offer local and long-distance services. Go to movepearson.com to get your free quote today. Pearson Moving, movers that won't break the bank or your stuff.
You're listening to the Local Hustlers Podcast, East Valley Locals. Get connected with small businesses near you and dive deep into their stories, mindset, and motives. Entrepreneurs everywhere. Get ready to be inspired by business owners, entrepreneurs, and hustlers that you can relate to and learn from. And now, your hosts, Dallin Huso and Ridge Waldberg.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Local Hustlers podcast. This week, Ridge and I are here with two-time Local Hustlers guest, Austin Merrell, who's here without his wife, Sammy, this time.
Yeah, feels lonely, but I hope I'll be able to get through it.
That's because we're here to talk to Austin about a new business. So last time, a couple months ago, for all our listeners, we interviewed Austin and Sammy about Cruisin' Photo Bus, their photo bus business. But today we're here to talk to Austin about his real estate company, Prosper Homes.
Yeah, that's us. So, like you said, so my wife, Sammy, and I, we started Cruisin' Photo Bus about 4.5 years ago and have since transitioned into real estate. And it's been a journey, but we're super excited about Prosper and the things that are happening now, and we had a good year last year. So we're really excited to keep moving forward and just what? This is why I need my wife here. She's helpful with that. Yeah, she is. No, just to move things forward really, I don't know. We have a lot of new ideas that we want to implement, so we're excited about those too.
That's cool. Well, that was the first thing I was going to ask. So Prosper came into play after you guys had started cruising?
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story as to how I got my license. I am a licensed real estate agent here in Arizona, and I'm licensed in Utah as well, actually. But when Sammy and I were somewhat newlyweds, we were looking for a home to actually fix up. I have a bit of a construction background. Okay. My dad's a general contractor, and he has been for like 40 years now. Oh, and cool. so I grew up, building homes with him and doing projects, things like that. And at the time I was also working for the town of Gilbert as a building inspector for new construction, which was fun too. But anyway, so Sammy and I were looking for a house that we could fix up and live in. And we found one, and we hired a real estate agent that we thought, had our best interest. And we went under contract on this specific house. We loved it. And this was probably 3 years ago, so a little bit cheaper then than homes are now. We had it under contract at $180,000. And after we were to put some work in it, it was going to be worth about $240,000. So we were super excited about it. We were going to live there. We were excited about having, that sweat equity of improving the home and whatnot. And the home was about to go into foreclosure. So we were under some pretty strict timelines to get the deal done. Okay. And unfortunately, the agent that we had didn't submit some paperwork in time, and the bank ended up just buying, foreclosing on it. Right. So it went through the auction process, and we didn't end up getting the house. And I remember receiving the phone call from the agent, and I'm sure it had to be hard for him, but I was like, we were pretty upset because we had spent a couple months, planning on that house, getting contractors out there, things to that nature. And so we had spent a lot of time and energy on that house. And the day before we were supposed to close, we found out it wasn't going to be ours. And so Sammy and I go back home, and we were kind of just like, screw this. I could have done that. So I went and got licensed as an agent here in Arizona, and originally it was just to purchase our own house, so that we could, just get that commission back. And we ended up buying a new build out in East Mesa, and I'll tell you, that commission check looked really nice, and I thought, geez, if I can do that for us, like, why can't I do it for other people too? Yeah. And so it kind of, our business kind of evolved from there as to really being service oriented and service based on actually helping people, which is what we lacked in our first experience with a real estate agent.
Yeah. Well, I think those are the best type of businesses when you like find a problem and figure out a business to solve it.
That's a really good point. Yeah. And that's with a lot of the programs that we have, ultimately that's our goal, is to attack a problem that homeowners and, people that want to be homeowners have and find a solution for it.
Cool. So I was going to say, so you have quite a different real estate model, or you offer a lot of different services and options than your regular real estate agent offers. So why don't you just kind of jump right into what you guys do that's different?
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, we really try and be different and break the mold of what a traditional agent is out there doing. And it's not to say that, there's plenty of great real estate agents out there, and it's not necessarily to say that,
what they're doing is wrong and
exactly.
what you're doing is right.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no wrong or right. There's a lot of great agents out there. I have a lot of respect for a lot of, good people in the industry. That I was about to say that being said, but my wife told me before I came not to say that. That being said, we do try and be extremely different. And a couple of the ways that we do that, we offer some pretty cool incentives for first-time home buyers. Because one of the big problems for first-time home buyers is having enough money for a down payment and closing costs. Yeah. Because those items can add up. If you figure, a 5% down payment on a $300,000 house, I don't know, what is that? Yeah, it's $15,000.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you look at, between $5,000 and $10,000 in closing costs, depending on the loan program. So for somebody that's pretty young, to save up and have $25,000 in the bank isn't always realistic.
For sure. Yeah.
And so one of the things that we offer is a credit toward their closing costs, and that helps them cover a portion of their closing costs, so they don't have to come up with as much money up front as most people would. Another program that we offer that I'm really excited about, that I kind of want to elaborate more on maybe later in the show, is our Prosper Remodel program. And that is something that's pretty new, but that's something for home sellers that gives them an opportunity to fully maximize the value of their home, rather than sell for less and take less profit from the sale. And that we have a couple other things. We have a rental program that we're really, really working hard on and really excited about. Don't want to talk too much about that because it's our little secret for right now.
There you go.
It's all in the works.
But ultimately, and even outside of the programs and the incentives we have, just being a professional and a knowledge-based agent it helps the consumer so much. And as an example, we helped a young couple buy a home last year, and I think they purchased it for $385,000. And we spent a lot of time diving into the area, the type of home, and whatnot, and looking at how that home would appreciate over the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. That same model in that same neighborhood is now selling between $450,000 and $480,000.
Oh wow!
And so to have within a year almost $100,000 of appreciating equity, that's a big deal. And it doesn't come from just buying any old home. Right. It comes from really knowing the market and really knowing how things are moving.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. What made you decide that you didn't want to just be a regular real estate agent that offered really good customer service that you didn't necessarily get, but why did you think, hey, I'm going to go above and beyond and offer all these other incentives and programs?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a big part of it, Arizona, last time I looked, Arizona has the highest number of agents per person than any other state in the U.S. Super saturated, yeah. And so, like any business, if you don't stand out and if you don't find your niche or do something different, you're just going to blend in with everybody else. So that was a big incentive to offer different programs, different incentives than the typical team or typical agent. And also just our first experience dealing with the home buying process, honestly, is still kind of a sore subject.
Yeah.
We've moved on, of course, but thinking back and thinking about how disappointed we were, that was a really difficult spot for us. Yeah. And so I never wanted any of my clients to feel the way we felt.
Yeah.
And so that comes from offering exceptional customer service and just a different take and a different look on real estate as a whole.
Yeah.
So what, like, I've never bought a house before. I've never like had to deal with any of that stuff. Like, what are the steps of buying a house? Like, kind of walk us through that for someone that doesn't
know. No, and that's a really good question, and it's something that's so overlooked because a lot of people don't want to admit that they don't know how to do something, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm that way. I fake it all the time.
Yeah. Well, you fake it till you make it. Like, but at the same time, like, I want to know how to buy a house. Yeah. And like, I'm sure a lot of other people do as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's funny you say that. Realtor.com and Zillow, June 2020 had the highest activity from unique website visitors than any other month in the history of time. So there are a lot of people interested in homes right now.
Yeah.
To answer your question, the first step I always tell people is talk to a lender and get pre-qualified. Because what that does is it lays out kind of the foundation works of buying a home. You don't want to go look for a home, find something that you absolutely love, and then realize you can't afford it.
Yeah.
It's just, it kind of puts a negative mindset on buying a house. So rather do all that legwork up front, know exactly what you can afford and what type of loan you're going to get in so that you can go look within your price range and when you do find a home that you really like, you can actually move forward with it rather than kind of be stuck. So always start.
And a lender is someone that gives you like a loan, right? That
Correct.
helps you with loans.
Sorry,
okay.
yeah.
Cool. And anyone can just go get pre-approved for that?
Yeah. And anybody can contact a lender, say, I want to buy a house. I mean, you got to be older than 18.
Right.
Kind of like getting married. Parents consent.
Yeah. Do they do like a credit check on you? Or
yeah. So to get pre-qualified, they're going to check your FICO score and they're going to want 2 years tax documents, bank statements, pay stubs, things to that nature to verify your income.
Okay.
And then based on that income and also based on the debts that you have, it's called your debt to income ratio.
Right.
They'll qualify you for a certain amount in a purchase price, that it's affordable to you.
Right. And then can someone come to you first and say, hey, like I'm trying to buy a home, and then can you set them up with a lender?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, that's a majority of the time that's how it works is people reach out to their real estate agent prior to reaching out to a lender, just because real estate agents, I don't know, when I think of buying a house, I think of a real estate agent, not necessarily a lender.
Yeah.
And so, so we have some great, we have a couple lenders that we work pretty close with, and then we would put you in contact with them. You would get pre-qualified and then kind of come back to us. Cool. We start that home search process, which, is tiring at times, but ultimately when you find the home that's right for you, it's a super rewarding experience. Sorry, to answer your question, contact a real estate agent, get pre-qualified, start your home search. Once you have found the home that you like and you submit an offer, you can get the home under contract. And then there is typically a 30 to 45 day window where you are under contract. You do some inspection, you do some things with the title company to make sure the home is ready for you to purchase, so to speak, and then you close.
That's cool.
It's a pretty straightforward process. There are a lot of details within that process, which is why it's super important to work with the right agent, the right lender, the right title company to make sure, it puts you in the best situation possible.
Yeah.
Do you work as a seller's agent too?
Yeah. So we represent sellers and buyers.
Okay.
And again, there's, if you are a seller who is also going to buy with us, we have an incentive program for that. Cool. Because it's almost like for us having 2 transactions for one client.
Right, yeah.
So it incentivizes us to work hard and, give back to those people because they're giving us a great opportunity. So we want to give them a great opportunity in return.
That's awesome. Is that process pretty similar as well? Just kind of like reverse or
selling a home?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, we kind of have a different take on selling homes, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a reverse. So in order to sell a home, we would want to meet up with the client and kind of do a walkthrough of their home. We look at comps in the area. One thing that kind of separates us from other agents is we actually front the cost for any repairs or updates that would be needed to really maximize the value of the home. Yeah, versus, a lot of people, they'll go into a home and say, as your property is right now, it's worth X. We can do that, but like I said, we like to really add value to our clients. And so to better that, we'll walk into a home and say, yeah, your property's valued currently at X, but what if we did this, this, and this? Then it would be worth, more, and it'd be easier to sell too. We front that cost, and it really puts a homeowner in a position to where they can make a lot more money out of the sale. And again, going back to the problem and the solution. Problem being, homeowners don't always have $10,000 to $20,000 on hand to put into the house they're about to sell, right? They'd either rather hang on to that money or put it into the new house that they're going to go purchase. Yeah. So we come in, we help them in that financially to do the necessary updates. And sometimes it's paint and carpet, other times it's paint, carpet, flooring, kitchen, appliances, whatever it needs. So that the homeowner can make that much more on the sale of their home.
And then do they just have to pay you back once they make the sell?
Yeah. So what's really nice is yes, we get paid back for the construction costs, but it doesn't necessarily come out of the pocket of the seller. It comes out of the net proceeds from the sale of their home. So it's money they don't even see. Yeah. And it's better broken down kind of in a scenario. So I was actually walking a home. I was going to ask you to give a scenario. Yeah. So I was walking a home in Scottsdale yesterday that a client of ours was thinking about putting under contract. The home needs work, right? Yeah. So we were about to put the home under contract for $380,000. And I was kind of knocking around the neighborhood, seeing how homeowners generally like the area and whatnot. And I knocked into one homeowner who had lived there since February. He bought his home for $480,000. Very similar models and whatnot. So there's $100,000. There's $100,000 discrepancy there between a nice home and a home that needs updating. Yeah. From the seller's perspective, rather than sell the home for $380,000, in theory, we could put in $30,000 to $40,000 in renovations and go sell it for that $480,000, $490,000 range, and there's an extra, $50,000, of equity that the homeowner gets to realize rather than just sell the home as is. Does that make sense? Right. And so again, it's all about providing unknown opportunities to buyers and sellers, and that's how we want to run our business, and that's kind of how we have in the past.
And so that 20 to 30 that you put in is already paid back when the house is sold. Yep. And then they just get the profit on top of that.
Correct. Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. So when a home closes, there's what's called a settlement statement, and it breaks down basically every line item of cost for the buyer and the seller. So we would just be one of the line items on there that, Prosper Homes gets their $30,000 back for renovations, but the homeowner always makes more money than they would have had we not done the renovations.
Yeah. Wow, that blows my mind. That's crazy.
That's really cool.
It is cool, and again, in such a saturated market, you have to stand out and you have to find your niche, which it is. Not a lot of people do that. No, if any that I know of. And so when I swear I would sit in bed nights on end thinking about I have a spreadsheet on my computer. I would do different scenarios on my computer, making sure it works for every situation. Right. And if you do the right renovations at the cost that we get our stuff at, which is a big part of the equation. Because if you go pay retail for construction,
you're not.
Sometimes you can get ripped off, and you don't always, make that money back.
Right.
But because we get a lot of, because we get a lot of the items that we need for renovations at such a discounted price, it really benefits the homeowner to go with that program so that they, again, can maximize the value of their home.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So do you have like special connections to get things done for a discounted price?
Yeah, we do. And we actually did a video recently on them, and I'll plug them for a little bit. But RM Interior and Design, they do all of our flooring, and they give us very, very good pricing. I won't tell you how good, but it's good.
Just use your imagination.
Use your imagination. But so they're one of our main connections for carpet, tile, hardwood floors, and we're redoing our house right now. For this very same reason, we're about to refinance, and we don't want to leave any money on the table. So we're putting in $5,000, and we are expecting to get $20,000 to $25,000 of value out of it.
So sorry, I know Dallin asked a question, but at some point, could you touch on what refinancing is?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
I use, and you don't have to put this in there, but I understand I use terms that probably, refinance. A lot of people don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Just for our younger listeners.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you want to just go into that then? Like what?
Yeah.
Is like the most basic term of.
Sure. And it's best said in a scenario.
Right.
So a refinance is when somebody, they have a current mortgage on their home, and because either they want to get money out of their home, or they want to get a lower interest rate, they will do what's called refinancing, and they'll get into a new loan that typically has a lower interest rate. So as an example, when Sammy and I bought our home, we bought it for $306,000 at a 4.125% interest rate. Interest rates now are mid to high 2%.
Oh, wow.
So it's a great time to refinance. Which is what we're doing. So we're refinancing our home so that we can get that lower interest rate and potentially take equity out and have cash on hand, which you can do that. You don't have to, but
so you can get cash out and it will then lower your mortgage payment.
Yeah. And as an example, so again, going back to my wife and I scenario, we had an interest rate at 4.125%. On a $300,000 loan, you would be paying a total interest of $212,000 over the 30 years of the loan, and your monthly payment would be $1,783. Now, if we refinance to let's say a 2.75% loan, we are only paying a total interest of $133,000 over the course of the loan, and our monthly payment is only $1,500 a month. So just in the difference of the interest rate over the length of the loan, we're saving almost $100,000 in interest.
Yeah. And
our monthly payment dropped $200 a month. Oh. So that's the reason why a lot of people are refinancing. It just puts them in a better financial situation.
Yeah.
So is there any reason not to refinance then?
Yeah, totally. That's a great question. So if you've been in your mortgage for a long time, a lot of people don't refinance because a lot of the interest that you pay is paid up front. So let's say you've been paying on your mortgage for 10 years. You've already paid a lot of your interest off. So why would you go refinance and start paying interest again? It's almost better just to, continue down that path. Gotcha. Unless you have just a stupid interest rate. There's an algorithm to figure that out, whether it's worth it or not.
Be worth it.
But that would be a scenario where somebody might not want to refinance.
Okay.
Because they've already done all that legwork to pay down their interest. Why would you go do it again?
Yeah. Cool. Sweet.
That's cool. Yeah.
Okay, so going back to the program where you help people put stuff into the home.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of risk for you? Let's say you put all this money into the house and it doesn't end up selling for what it was going to, or it doesn't sell at all?
Yeah, that's a good question. No. I don't like to look at it as risk.
Yeah.
We are guaranteed that the construction cost back. We have contracts for that. Okay. The homeowner out of the proceeds of the sale, they do have to pay us back.
Right.
But kind of to put it in perspective, all of the homes that we've listed and sold over the past 2 years, on average, we sell within 99% of the original list price. Oh, wow. So we feel that we are extremely accurate with what we list a home at, and our numbers show. So, yeah, I mean, very rarely are we off on our resale numbers, and there's really not. I don't see any risk, unless for what, like, heaven forbid, the market just tanked.
Yeah,
I mean, we would still get our money back, but no, I don't really see any risk.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's such a difference maker for the homeowner that hypothetically, if we had to eat some money for whatever reason, like the value that we're adding, I assume would just get passed around so that we can have more clients, and it kind of offsets that potential loss.
For sure.
But no, like, I honestly don't see a downside to it, as long as you're making the appropriate improvements, which is something that's super important. And I feel like our construction background has something to play into that.
Yeah.
Because, like, you can put in, like, a kitchen sink. You can put in a $200 kitchen sink, or you can put in a $1,200 kitchen sink. Like,
right.
You really have to know your market, know your comps,
For sure.
and know which improvements to make versus which improvements not
right.
to.
Like a kitchen really improves the value of a house rather than other things might not.
Yeah, absolutely. But to that point, like, you can spend $5,000 on a kitchen remodel or $50,000 on a kitchen remodel. So it's really knowing what the best use is for that renovation and how much money you're going to get out of it.
Okay.
So it is a very strategic program. It's not something that we just go in a house and the first time we see it, we say, oh, we're going to make this, this, and this. Like, we sit down with the homeowner. We make sure everybody's comfortable with the improvements we plan on making. And we also have examples of what those improvements do to a home. Because, like, we'll look at other comps. Like, when we're doing renovations, we look at the comps in the neighborhood that have sold for more.
Yeah.
So we're basing our plan off of home sales that have already occurred. It's not like we're, making something out of thin air. We're going off of past sales, past improvements, and so on.
Like you said, you put in the groundwork. By talking to other neighbors and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, we do go door to door, which maybe is rare for real estate agents right now. But, like, I was out yesterday and it was 100 and whatever degrees outside. I had beads of sweat going down my back. But it's something we still do because it provides value to our clients.
Dang, that's cool.
Yeah.
What else can you attribute that 99% success rate to?
Knowing your numbers is super important. There's oftentimes you'll see. Let me back up. Knowing your numbers is super important. It's, as an agent, if I know I'm competing with, let's say, 10 other agents, it's so easy. It would be so easy up front to go and tell you as a homeowner, like, oh yeah, I can sell your house for more than I think I can, just to get the business.
Yeah.
Which honestly happens a lot. Like, you'll see homes listed at $500,000 that are worth $450, and you slowly see that home sit on the market, and there's a price drop, and then a price drop, and then a price drop, and it finally sells. We kind of actually work in the opposite. So we either list a home at fair market value or slightly under, because what that does is it drives a ton of buyers to your home because they see it's a deal. Like, everybody wants a deal. It doesn't matter if you're at Target or if you're looking for a home. Yeah. Everybody wants a deal. And if they feel like they are getting a deal, they will do things that they typically wouldn't do.
Yeah.
So, like, as an example, we have a listing over in the neighborhood that we live, and we listed it right under fair market value. And we ended up selling it for the highest price that home in our neighborhood has ever sold for.
Wow.
Yeah, because people feel like they're getting a deal.
Yeah. And people start, like, bidding? Is that how
yeah,
it's higher?
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, we listed it at $339, which it could be listed at, like, it could be listed at $350, But because we work in the reverse, we had an offer at $339. We had an offer at $340. We had an offer at $342. We had an offer at $345. Like it just and then you start working those against each other.
Yeah.
Say like, hey, Mr. Buyer's agent, we do have an offer that is slightly above yours. You know, we encourage, if your buyers want the house, to submit their highest and best offer. And you just like, it's a pretty fun game, honestly.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And it, you know. Yeah. So that's one of the things I kind of attribute our success to, is working again, almost against the grain and differently than other agents do. We are a part of like one of the biggest and most renowned real estate coaching programs in the nation, or in the world actually. So, you know, we learn a lot and we educate ourselves very often on the newest trends, the newest marketing techniques, things like that, which leads me to, you know, our marketing program, because, you know, selling a home is sales, and the way you sell something is get it in front of as many people as possible. And so our marketing program does that with, you know, the type of photography we do, the videos we do, the social media campaigns, and the door-to-door, like, I could keep going, but like, so I would say those three things: working in reverse, and knowing your numbers, our marketing platform, our marketing scheme, so to speak. And then just being a part of a really good real estate ecosystem that we're constantly learning from. I would attribute our success rate to those three things.
Do you spend more time cleaning your pool than you spend swimming in it? Then call Flamingo Pools today. Flamingo Pools is your go-to swimming pool maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Whether it's weekly maintenance, repairs, green to cleans, or one-time cleanings, Flamingo Pools will take care of you. Honest, reliable, and innovative. Just a few of the many good things Flamingo Pools customers have to say about them. Ask them about their mineral treatment, which will keep your chemical levels down, allowing you to have a healthier bathing experience. At Flamingo Pools, they know that your pool was made to be enjoyed, so let them handle the rest. Check them out at azflamingopools.com or give them a call at 480-422-6013. Mention this podcast and you'll get your first month of maintenance completely free. That's azflamingopools.com and 480-422-6013.
So touching on the marketing side of things a bit, do you feel like you see a lot of success coming from the way that you guys market things, whether it's the videos, the photos you take, or just being able to post it on social media and having all these different avenues and platforms for people to see?
Yeah. So, no, that's a good question. I would say like it really is a combination of a lot of different things, because like, we post, like we'll put homes on the MLS and then it gets populated to Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, all those things. And then we also do our social media campaigns. We also do open houses. We also go door to door. And so I wouldn't say it's one thing that sells the home, but it's a consumer seeing that property over and over and over and over again on different platforms or in different ways that makes them think, wow, I should actually go look at that. Yeah. And so and that being said, we don't spread ourselves too thin, but we just want consumers to see your property on as many different platforms as possible, and it typically piques their interest.
And then how about the marketing for you as a real estate agent to get customers? Because obviously we talked about how saturated the industry is, and you do offer like different things, but how do you let people know that you do that in the first place?
Yeah, that's a good question. And you know, at times marketing is difficult because, you know, you got to spend money, but that money always comes back. One of the things that from a marketing standpoint that I'm most proud of, and like 99% of the credit goes to my wife because she it was her idea and she put it together. We do some pretty cool workshops to where like, so we had a workshop, it was a while ago, it was last year, to where we had, it was kind of like a home buyers and sellers workshop to where we invited a bunch of people to a place called Gather Estate in Mesa, and we had a variety of workshops there so that people could learn more about real estate, right? So we had a first-time home buyers workshop. We had a housing market versus stock market workshop. We had a workshop about buying investment properties. We even had a workshop about like decorating your home for the holidays. Like just a variety of workshops that pique people's interest. And we had dinner and a couple of giveaways and whatnot.
Oh, that's super cool.
But from a marketing standpoint, I think we had, 50 or 60 people there, which we were so new as a company when we did that. So we were like so excited.
Yeah, well, that's huge just for branding too.
Yeah. And I think over the course of a year, we had 4 transactions from that one workshop of people that came. And so, we spent quite a bit of money on that, but we saw it. I want to say we tripled our investment. So that's something that we really like to do. We haven't been able to do that because of the pandemic, and we are pretty cautious as to, gathering together in a big group like that. But it's something we hope to do hopefully at the end of the year again, or beginning of next year. Yeah, if things cool down a little bit. But yeah, so that was one thing that was super successful for us, and it really set us apart too from other companies. And then, our social media in today's world is just a big thing in general. Constantly posting and updating people about our programs, or how even we're just staying busy, or even personal things like, we went on a vacation recently and we did a post about our vacation, like little things like that. Just staying top of mind in real estate is super important. And our ultimate goal for Prosper is just to stay top of mind, so that when somebody thinks real estate, or I want to buy a house, or I want to sell a house, they think of us. Yeah, that's the main goal.
That's cool. And I've noticed you post like some pretty professional videos too on Instagram, just like informative videos of like just explaining different aspects of real estate.
Yeah, so that's something that we started doing beginning of this year that I love doing, because it separates us. Video is still somewhat new, especially in the real estate world, but I personally think it's so important, and it's such a degree of separation, because when I watch a video of somebody talking about, whatever it is, I think it establishes a lot more trust with that individual versus a photo,
for sure,
or, a picture on somebody's story or whatnot, because they actually get to see me, or, whoever is on the video, interact with them in a way, and share content or news or tricks and tips or whatever it is, just on more of a personal basis. Yeah. And I don't know. I think people watch videos a bit more than look at pictures, especially when it comes to social media. I'm more likely to watch a video
than read like a really long caption that would explain the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're really proud of our videos. We should be doing a second set here next week, actually. So we film them in bulk just to keep the cost down, but the information's still valid, and it's good information.
Right. Yeah. So I was going to ask, for like a business owner that's wanting to do something similar, do you just hire a photographer, come up with like a couple different scripts to talk about, and then splice them up into separate videos to post? Yeah.
So we hired a videographer, and we kind of had some ideas already as to what videos we wanted to shoot, in what format, the style and all that. Yeah. And so, our videographer, he was so helpful actually in helping create the scripts and the content, and he was really good at that. I would just really, for any business, just really get to know the problems of the business, because again, it's all about finding solutions to problems. So a lot of our videos are about problems and finding a solution to the problem, and then at the end of every video there's some sort of call to action, right? So like as a part of our videos, like we did one recently on being a first-time home buyer and why now is a good time to buy. So we talked about a problem that first-time home buyers face. We talked about a solution, and then our call to action was, visit our website for our home buyer's guide that walks you through the buying process step by step. And then in theory, they'll go to our website, download the guide, and then again, it's a way that we stay top of mind. And when they are actually ready to buy a home, they think of Prosper Real Estate.
Mm-hmm. And then you have their contact information as well.
Yeah, exactly, which is important. And like, honestly, I'm not one of those agents that bugs people a lot. Like, if you give us your contact information, I'm not going to call you 5
spam
days a
you.
week. Yeah. Because I know how much I hate that.
Right.
So again, like I try not to be typical.
For sure. But like if you have something where you can add value to everyone, you
exactly.
can like let people know about it.
Exactly. And that's
without bugging them.
No, and that's a great point, and that's what we really try and stick to.
That's cool. That's super cool.
So I had a question. What does the market look like for a buyer and a seller right now? I mean, it's kind of a weird time for everything. So
it is. Yeah, it is a weird time, and that is a great question. I'm glad you asked, because I think there's a lot of like, man, you read the news and it's kind of doom and gloom sometimes.
yeah.
And when the pandemic first happened, end of March and through April, especially here when we had the shutdown, I would say there was like a 2 to 3 week pause period where everybody just hit the pause button and wanted to wait and see, as far as housing goes, kind of how things would shake out. Mm-hmm. And there's different graphs and different statistics that I look at pretty frequently. One of them it's called the showing time index. And what that shows is the amount of showings that homes on the MLS have. Mm-hmm. And in, again, late March, early April, the showing time index fell dramatically.
It was almost like the stock market.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But then we saw home showings pick up towards the end of April, and they've continued to pick up since. So to answer your question, overall, how is the housing market? There's a lot of economists and professionals, like Wall Street Journal type professionals, saying that the housing market is actually what's going to pull us out of the recession that we're in. And honestly, that's the way it's kind of been. Home values have continued to appreciate. And from a seller's perspective, it is a great time to sell because home values are up.
Yeah.
So you can take out, or, when you sell your home, you get a lot of that money back. And it's also a great time to buy because interest rates are so low. And a majority of economists expect homes to continue to appreciate between 3 and 4.5% over the next 2 years.
Wow.
So there's room for appreciation. You're not, again, according to the experts, you're not buying at the top of the housing market, and you're getting into a mortgage at such a cheap rate that, me personally, I think it's a no-brainer to buy a house if you're in a position to buy one.
Right.
And another indicator that people tend to look at and the news kind of overexploits is the unemployment rate, which is a super hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'll preface this kind of like I did on the last podcast. For those who have lost their jobs or are out of work, I personally I'm sure we all can empathize with those people because we've all, I think, one way or another struggled through the pandemic. So for those that are out of work, I totally understand how that feels, and it sucks. There's no excuse for it. In a perfect world, everybody would have a job.
Yeah.
But looking at the unemployment numbers, what the news says is 55 million people have filed for unemployment, which is horrible, right? But in reality, I think it's 18 million are collecting unemployment, which is the reality of it. 65% of the people collecting unemployment are 24 years of age and younger. And so when you actually break down the numbers and really look at the entire picture, for those that are in a position to buy a home, they're not necessarily being affected as much as you would think from the unemployment, which, because when we look at unemployment and see the numbers that the news puts out there, I would totally expect, the housing market to plummet, right? But it hasn't. It's the one thing that stayed strong throughout this entire thing.
Why do you think we had a little dip for a while, and then ever since then it's just been going up and up?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot of theories, I guess you could say. I was in high school when the Great Recession happened in 2008, 2009, so I don't fully understand it. But from what I've heard, that recession was made worse because of fear. The market corrected, people got so scared and stayed scared.
Yeah.
And so it just continued to go down.
Right.
I think this time around, it kind of showed how resilient people are. And, you know, I know a lot of people don't believe in America right now, but I still believe in America. I love this country. So I think people just didn't let the fear get to them.
Yeah.
And you have to continue on with your life. And I think there was an initial scare
For sure.
when the pandemic came into play. And then people just, I don't know, I kind of think that a lot of people just washed that fear away, and it correlated with how the market is recovering right now. It also helped that a lot of employers got benefits from the PPP loan program that was out there for small businesses. Unemployment was upped quite a bit, like, you know, depending on where you live, $400 to $600 a week. So there's a lot of different factors as to why things didn't continue to go down. But
I think the scares and stuff are different now than they were then too.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. And, you know, I focus on the housing market.
Yeah.
I'm not an economist or anything like that for like our overall economy. But like in quarter two, the GDP fell like 32%. Yeah. So, but that being said, all of those experts are expecting the GDP to increase in Q3 and Q4.
Right.
So,
well, even if you look at the stock market now, it's starting to go back up.
Yeah, it's been a little volatile, but relatively strong. In the sense that it has gone up.
Yeah, that's cool. So if we can, I kind of want to jump back into some of the different special programs that you offer.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about how you offer credit for repairs, and that's kind of for sellers. And now, is that something as well for like someone that like a flipper that wants to come in and do that?
So I met an investor yesterday actually knocking doors, and the program fit perfectly for him.
Right.
So yes, our Prosper remodel program is designed for sellers to maximize the value of their home.
Okay.
And what we were talking about before, to where we go into a home, we tell a seller, your home right now is worth X, but if we make these improvements, it'll be worth, you know, a lot more in theory. And so we do the necessary renovations. We front that cost so that it's no out-of-pocket expense to the seller. And then we list the home and we sell the home for more because we made those improvements, and it puts more money in the seller's pocket when it's all said and done. And so geared toward investors, the same principles apply. Like, you know, investors buy homes all the time. And so if they want us to come in and front the construction cost for their investments, whether it be a rental that they're trying to sell or a flip or whatever, we're happy to do that. We secure the listing from it. Yeah. No, that's a great question. And it's actually something I didn't even think about until yesterday when I was talking to that investor at the door. I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is a perfect program for something for somebody like you too. Because it saves them money and it guarantees us the listing. Exactly. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. And especially for like a newer investor that maybe doesn't have all that money up front to put into something, but it still gives them the experience of flipping a home.
Now that's a really good point, because there are a ton of new investors and just, you know, people like you and me that would love to flip a home or like start investing in real estate.
Right.
And this program does provide a great opportunity for them to go do investments, you know, with low money out of their own pocket. They can benefit from the profit of the investment, and we can benefit from the listing.
That's super cool.
And another, like, because people ask, like, well, how are you making money out of it? Well, we do secure the listing, and with that comes a commission. But another thing that people don't realize is if we are constantly marketing and selling updated and nice looking properties, it makes our brand look really, really good. For sure. And so it's a great marketing tactic for us to go then secure more listings, more buyers. So like there's a lot, it's like a compound effect of where this one house could possibly get us 3 other or 4 other transactions.
Right.
So we kind of bank on that too.
Plus, like you're getting your 3% commission if you make that value 100,000 more. That's that much more you're getting on the back end.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. Yeah. So if we can increase the value, yeah, it does help our commission a little bit.
It's like a total win-win for you and the
Yeah, it
seller.
really is.
Yeah, and that when I was thinking, like, I swear I was sitting in bed, I couldn't sleep, and I was like, because I had lost a deal that I wanted to buy, and I was like, shoot, I wonder, like, what would have incentivized that seller to sell to me versus the other guy? And that's when I thought of it. I was like, well, if I just did the remodel for the seller and given them the profit, they probably would have gone with my offer. So I was like, oh, let me jump on my computer and run numbers. And so that's what I did, and kind of this is what it shook out to be.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And now I'm having a brain fart. Remind me the other program you talked about at the very beginning before this that you guys offer.
So our rental program is still in the works.
Okay, that was that one, and I thought.
So our for first time home buyers, So first time home buyers, depending on the purchase price of the home, we offer a credit toward their closing costs.
Okay.
So it saves them sometimes thousands of dollars, like, again, depending on the purchase price, but it saves them thousands of dollars toward their closing costs. And basically what we do, we really try not to be greedy, is that credit just comes out of our commission and goes toward the buyer's cost of buying the home.
Cool.
Yeah. And again, it's a way that we can differentiate ourselves and be on the team of the buyer versus, I want my full 3% and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Cool. So I won't pry into the rental program because I know it's a big secret and you're working on it. But I'll ask, is it, because obviously as a real estate agent, you're helping people buy and sell homes. Do you ever feel like there is a good reason to rent instead of buy?
There is a time and a place to be a renter for everybody. I mean, when Sammy and I were newlyweds, we rented for 2 years and it worked perfectly. Like, it worked great for us. It allowed us to save money for a down payment on a house. Like, I don't know, for that time and place, it was good for us. The last time I checked, the average rent for a single family home in Gilbert, Arizona was $1,881 a month.
Dude, it's expensive.
It is expensive, yeah. And like, we just checked what we could rent our house out for. Our model match house is renting out for $2,300 a month.
Really?
We could not believe it. So rents are increasing, they have increased, over the past couple of years. If you were to take that same average Gilbert rental and apply it to a mortgage, you could afford a $400,000 house.
Wow.
And so, yes, there's a time and a place to rent, but the benefits of home ownership far exceed that of being a renter, in my opinion, just because, one, you're investing in an asset that averages appreciation. You can take a sense of ownership and pride in something that you own. You can make improvements to it, whereas a rental, you can't really do much to a rental. I don't know. And just the security, like, there's so many articles and things that point towards home ownership being a wealth builder for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So no, I really believe in home ownership, and I don't know. I think it's a great opportunity, especially right now with low interest rates, appreciating home prices. Like, it is a great time to go out and buy a house.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, this can be very personal, but what do you think qualifies someone to buy a home?
That's a really good question. And I'll back up with kind of a story. I think especially for first-time home buyers, like, I call it the jump. That jump from being a renter, where you have pretty much zero liability and responsibility for that house, to being a homeowner, to where you're like, oh, I just went from having my car payment to being $300,000 in debt. Like, holy smokes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a huge jump for somebody. What qualifies somebody to be a homeowner? When Sam and I were buying our house, we had a specific budget that we set together. And sure enough, my wife walks into the house that we ended up buying. It was significantly over our budget. And she turned to me and she's like, "This is the one." I said, "Did you see how much it is? Like, this isn't the one. We're not buying this house." But sure enough, we did. And, like, obviously it's great now. I think you kind of just have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
and have faith in yourself to make it happen, because it is scary, right? Like it's a huge deal to buy a house, which is a great reason why you need to have a real estate professional help you through that process so that you make the proper investment, so that you know what you're doing and getting into. You definitely want to have enough money for a decent down payment. Depending on the loan program, it's anywhere from 3.5 to however, like the ceiling's kind of, or the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
But minimum 3.5% down. I think the sweet spot is 5 to 10% down. And then you want to have money for your closing costs. You can typically bank on 2% of the purchase price in closing costs. And it's always nice to have reserves. You know, you don't want to be house poor to where all of the money that you make every month is going toward your house and you have nothing left over. Yeah. If you have 3 months of your mortgage reserved, I think you're in a pretty financially stable position to buy a house. Mm-hmm. That's a good question though, because I mean, I wouldn't even say we were financially prepared to buy a house when we did.
I feel like a lot of people aren't.
Yeah. And no, that's a good point.
Yeah. But you just kind of have to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, more or less, but
yeah, like I said, it's a jump, like, cause I mean, back when Sammy and I were renting, our rent was $700 a month. So we went from $700 a month to $1,500 a month. At the time we were like, oh my gosh, do we even make that much money? Like,
right.
But you know, it just ends up working out. Like you find ways to make it work. And again, it is nice to have those reserves and to have all the money saved up and on hand. But that's kind of what we did.
Well, I'm sure at the price that your house can rent for now, you're probably tempted to just pack up, sit in a tent out in the park for a couple months.
We're getting pre-qualified next week. Like we are going to rent our house out one way or another.
Nice.
And that's the thing. Like, had we not purchased the home, would we have these different opportunities? No, we wouldn't. We would still just be paying a landlord $700 a month, which seems cheap, but the opportunity cost is so much greater than that. Like the opportunity to rent our house for $2,300 a month, the opportunity to have, you know, almost $100,000 of equity in something. Like, had we not bought, those financial opportunities wouldn't have existed. And like we've raised our 2 kids in that house. Like we have 7 puppies right now, which I didn't tell you guys. Like we have 7 puppies in that house right now. Yeah. So like so many memories and just that sense of pride and ownership in something. Yeah. Again, that's an opportunity cost that is lost when you're renting.
Yeah. That's cool. One more thing I wanted to kind of touch on is I know you've mentioned on social media before that you guys do a lot of give back to the community, a lot of donating to charity. Could you quickly just touch on that and why you do that? Yeah,
I mean, we're a small business, and so we love supporting small businesses. We've grown a couple companies ourselves, and we know what that process is like to start from nothing and try and grow something. And it's difficult, like you guys know how it is with the podcast and your other ventures. Like it's hard, and so to have that sense of community and support each other as small businesses, we take a lot of pride in that, and we put effort into that, whether it be like, it's like for our buyers and sellers, when they close on a house, we give them like a gift basket, and all of those gifts come from a local small business. Oh, that's cool. And we give back to our buyers and our sellers, and you know, we try and give back where we can. And like another example, at that workshop we did last year, we did a service project for I want to say it was it was for the refugees that were coming to our country. Cool. We packed little care kits and sent them to a refugee program that we learned about. So things like that. I don't know, we just feel like it's really important to be involved in your community, and like how lucky are we to live where we do and to have the things that we have. Mm-hmm. I almost feel like it's an obligation to give back where you can. Yeah. And it always comes back to you, you know, tenfold, one way or another. Maybe not in your wallet, but in your heart, or however it is, it comes back.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I know this isn't the reason why you or anyone else does that sort of thing, but like as a consumer, it feels a lot better when you're putting money towards something that is going to go a long way. Not only just put money in that person's pocket, but it's helping someone else out, and you feel like you're doing good as well.
That's a super, super good point. Yeah, like I know, like whenever I buy something, my wife especially, she loves things like that. Like if she knows her money is going to multiple things in the community or small business or charity or whatever it is, like she loves to do that willingly, which is great. Like I fully support that too. So yeah, I agree totally.
When with supporting small business, you pretty much see where your money goes. Like when you think about it, like you see the employees that it goes to, you see that it's helping out like your community have money and have like other resources where, I mean, obviously we all support big business and we have to. Yeah. But it's different. Like it goes to another state or another country and then it just kind of does its thing, right? Whereas like if you're giving it here, like
it's staying in the community.
It's staying. And you see that.
And it ends up benefiting you again.
Yeah.
In some
like
way or another.
That's so true.
Say you go to your barbershop, well, he might be able to open up a new barbershop down the road, or say you go to a local restaurant, they might be able to open up a new one, and that's because of you. Like, it's really cool.
No, yeah, it really is what, like, consumers are what makes the world go round. And if you consume in your local market is going to thrive, and it's going to present so many opportunities to a lot of different people. So, yeah, that's a really good point. And like even us, we're not some big corporation real estate company. Like I am literally the only agent on Prosper Real Estate, and I take pride in that. And we hope to grow one day. But when our clients choose to use us, like, you're supporting a business, but like you're supporting my 4-year-old, my 2-year-old, my wife, like things to that nature too. And so we hope that the things that we give back to our clients shows that appreciation, because it is something we greatly appreciate.
Yeah. That's something I wanted to ask. So do you have plans to grow Prosper into like other agents and stuff, or do you like it just being you?
That's a good question. I like it just being me, but I also know that I would be putting a ceiling on myself if we didn't grow. Yeah. And when I say we, like my wife isn't an agent, but so many of the ideas and the marketing, like she is very much involved, although she's not an agent. So she deserves a lot of the credit that Prosper Real Estate gets. Like, yeah, I go out and do the transactions and whatnot, but like on the backside, a lot of the things that people don't see, she does a lot of. So she deserves a lot of credit.
Shout out to Sammy.
Shout out to Sammy, yep. But yeah, I mean, we hope to grow. Like I can't do everything. Sammy and I can't do everything. Yeah, so to have other agents would be great, especially with the Prosper remodel program. We expect that to really do well. And, like I said, Sammy and I can't be everywhere at once. And so that's going to take more bodies. We've been recently trying to promote and hire people to go out and door knock with us. So that's, I mean, we're hiring that position right now. And I would say in the next year or so, we hope to bring on more agents.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. How do you juggle having this as well as Cruise and Photo Bus? Like, how do you make sure that you're putting equal energy towards both?
That's ventures? A super, super good question. It was very difficult in the beginning because I don't know. I love Volkswagen buses. Yeah. I'm not super passionate about photo booths, but I am passionate about real estate. Like I really love helping people buy and sell houses. I love the idea of investing in real estate. Like I really love real estate. And so in the beginning, it was super hard because I wanted to put so much time and attention into Prosper, and Cruisin' would be lacking at times. And then Cruisin' would be like calling all of our attention because of how many weddings or events we were doing. And so like I'd have to totally turn my back to real estate and focus on Cruisin', and then do the opposite and go back and forth and back and forth. We recently just hired a manager for Cruisin', which has been a huge help as far as like my focus goes, because she does all of the emails, all of the scheduling, and it's still new. Like we're both learning, but even having her kind of take over in a way has helped with my focus so much. And it's shown in the amount of transactions we do too. Like my focus and, you know, a bit of Sammy's focus solely being on real estate, it shows in the amount of transactions we do, the customer service we offer. Like it shows a lot, and it helps.
Okay, so why don't you give us your best advice for a business owner, you know, trying to juggle everything they're doing, whether it's running another business, just having a family at home, whether it's a side hustle with their real job, how you're able to organize everything and still be successful?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's something that I think everybody struggles with. A piece of advice that I would give is really try and prioritize your time and your schedule. For me personally, family time is everything, and it's a priority for me. So if you can really prioritize your time and your schedule to fully benefit both your family and your business, I think you'll find success in that. And then also really finding and staying within your niche and what you really excel in, I think will bring any business success. Find what you're good at and really go after it. Find what separates yourself from the competition and attack it and just go for it, because ultimately as business owners, we're trying to find a solution to a problem. And if you can really find those solutions and stick to them and pursue them, I think you'd be surprised at how valued whatever you do well is in the marketplace and how it may be lacking. And what you bring to the table can be a solution to somebody's problem. And if you just run with it and be that solution, I think you'll find success. Because you're bringing value to the marketplace. You're bringing value to consumers, your friends, family, and really that's what a lot of businesses are based on, is just finding solutions to problems.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's cool to see not only that you're giving good advice, but that you live by it as well. You know, found a problem and has been able to solve it through your business. So.
Thank you.
Sweet, man. Well, before we close up here, I think you know what's coming next. We got a little game we're gonna play, but we're gonna switch it up on you. We've got some new questions, so you. Just to make sure you didn't go back and cheat and get them all memorized. So,
I didn't cheat, but I was thinking about it on the way over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ridge will get us started.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1.
Dream vacation.
Oh, Bali.
First thing you'd buy if you won $1 million.
A house.
Favorite hobby.
Skateboarding.
Um,
A
song you've been jamming to lately.
Ooh, what's my age again? Blink-182.
If you live to be 100, who would you rather have would you rather have your mind or your body?
My mind.
Favorite holiday?
Oh, Christmas.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Cookies and cream.
Favorite fictional character?
Harry Potter.
What's your nickname?
AJ.
Favorite smell?
Oh, I don't know. A new baby smell? I don't know.
Pet peeve?
Oh, sprinklers in the rain.
If you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, waffles.
If there was an Olympics for an everyday activities, what activity would you have a good chance at winning?
Oof.
Oh, would I have a good chance at winning?
We'll answer it, yeah.
Oh, man. That's a good question. Watching Netflix.
Nice.
There you go.
Awesome. Those questions are good.
Yeah.
Those are good.
That's 13, so
I like
think,
those.
Yeah. I think that's up there with one of the best, so good job.
Yeah, and you didn't know any of those. So that was good. That was good.
Nice, man. Well, yeah, once again, thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Oh, yeah. My pleasure.
Yeah,
thank
we
you
learned
guys.
a lot about just real estate and the housing market in general, so I'm sure our listeners were able to learn a lot, too, there.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Real quickly before we close, why don't you just let everyone know where they can find you if they're interested in buying or selling a house?
Yeah, so our website is prosperrealestateteam.com. And then you can also find us on Instagram at prosperhomes_. If you want to email me, it's prosperhomesaz@gmail.com.
Sweet.
Yeah, those would be the best places.
Sweet.
There
Sounds
you have
good.
it.
Cool. Well, thanks again for coming on again.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll see you.
Catch you next week.